Debt is scary, and debt is real for a large majority of the population. Most are living paycheck to paycheck and feel like they're drowning in debt. And trust me, I know that feeling all too well. Today I'm here to tell you and show you that there's still a way out of this situation. You can take control of your finances and start your own debt-free journey. But before you do, let me share my journey to becoming debt-free with you in the hopes that it'll give you some inspiration. I am living proof that you can live a life of no more student loan payments, no more credit card payments, no more loan payments. But I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It wasn't an easy task, I'm telling you that. But this journey taught me a lot about myself, it taught me a lot about money management, and it taught me a lot about financial literacy. But I also knew that I was determined enough and focused enough to come out on the other end successfully. So my journey to financial freedom started in 2015, when I decided that I no longer wanted to live a life filled of debt. I knew that I needed a way out, but I had no idea where to even begin. I couldn't ask the people around me because they were all in debt and they seemed so content living with debt. And I actually never knew anyone that paid off their debt, so I couldn't go to anyone to say, hey, how do you do this? And that was when I realized this was going to be a long and lonely road. But let me bring you back a bit to help you understand how I got myself into $33,000 worth of debt. So my debt consisted of 1, a line of credit, 2, student loan, and 3, credit cards. So my line of credit came about in my second year of university when I didn't get enough government assistance to pay for my tuition and my housing. Obviously, that was for paying for my first and my second degree. And that money was given to me again to pay for my housing, my books, and for my tuition fees. And my credit card I got in my first year of university, and that also was connected to paying for things for school. But I did pay for a vacation that I did not need to be going on with that credit card as well. So in total, all of my debt came about from trying to pay for my first and my second degree. So while racking up all this debt, I was not thinking about what comes later, and I did not want to think about how much I'd have to pay back later. I was just enjoying what I had while I had it and ignoring the idea of my debt growing and growing. In early 2015, I started to realize that my debt amount had grown tremendously. And that was the moment that reality hit me. I needed to make some changes and I needed to make them fast. So facing that reality of how much I owed, it wasn't easy. I'm not going to be honest. It was kind of like a punch in the gut. But it was important for me to confront those numbers and to accept the mess that I had created for myself. So one day I was sitting around at home. I decided I need to figure out how to get out of this debt. And maybe if I go to YouTube, I can get some answers of how other people have done it. And so I was checking out some videos, and that's when I was introduced to Dave Ramsey. As a disclaimer, I am not affiliated with his organization, and I'm not sponsored by him in any way, but I will shout them out. Hey, Dave Ramsey Show. And that's because they helped me find my starting point to my debt-free journey. So I started binge watching videos. You know what happens when you get on YouTube, you find something you like and you just find yourself in a deep hole of watching video after video. That's exactly what happened when I saw Dave Ramsey videos. I saw other helpless individuals like myself who were in some serious debt and wanted out. Night after night, I listened to the advice that was given, I took some notes, but what really motivated me while watching those episodes was watching people on the show doing their debt-free scream. And that's basically when you've paid off all your debt and you go onto the show and you scream that you're debt-free on the top of your lungs. It was so satisfying to watch, and I told myself, that's going to be you. So that was kind of it for me. That was the beginning of my debt-free journey. But the next few things had to happen as I moved forward. So number 1, I had to really see how much debt I was in and write everything out. It was no more opening my credit card statements and going to the bottom where it said minimum payment and only paying that. I actually had to look at how the numbers were growing every month and how much interest had grown on it and what I actually owed. And I had to write everything out and put all my debts in front of me and face them head on. Number 2, I had to pick a budgeting method that I thought would work for me. And that's when in comes cash envelope stuffing, as well as the Dave Ramsey debt snowball method. So it's kind of a combination of two. So the debt snowball method is when you pay off the smallest debt first with the lowest interest rate, and then you build your way up to larger ones. So I did that intentionally because I knew that if I didn't have some wins in the middle of this journey, I would be really demotivated and feel like there's no light at the end of the tunnel, and I probably wouldn't continue on. So that worked out well for me. Number 3, I had to sacrifice and really learn to start saying no. No to people and no to things. I had to start making plans with my money, and I decided I was going to stick to it no matter what. I wrote out what I made, what I owed, and my monthly expenses, and I cut out almost everything. No shopping for clothes or items for the house. No eating out. No outside entertainment. I was hyper-focused. At this time, all my money was going to go to paying off my debt, and that actually meant living on the bare minimum. Beans and rice, rice and beans. Okay, well, not exactly beans, rice and beans, because my kids hated beans, but I definitely had to revamp the dinner menu to include cheaper food. Along this journey, there were definitely bumps in the road, and I felt like I was missing out on a lot. And life got a bit boring, to say the least. But the idea of eventually being debt-free is kind of what kept me motivated. And after a few months, things just became the norm for me. And seeing my debt go down every month started to become like a game or a challenge for me. And I was not gonna fail. It became a game where the only opponent to beat was myself. And I think it's safe to say I won. So about 6-7 months in is when I hit another bump in the road. I was definitely on shaky ground again. I started questioning whether I can continue budgeting like this for another year and a half or more. Flexible, I would say, with my budget and not sticking to it. And I was also getting really embarrassed having to keep taking out those white envelopes that had stains on them and they were crumpled and using them to pay for purchases. I wanted out of that life of living out of envelopes. So while I was in that funk, I decided I need to get back on YouTube and start watching some videos of everybody that's been in debt and kind of got themselves out of debt. And so I kind of did that again, and that really helped me to get back on track. It pushed me through for a few more months, and I went back to tracking every single dollar and really watching my spending. I went into high gear and I was seeing my debt go down and down and down, and it was like my driving force to get me to that end goal. I know some might be thinking I was in a situation that made it easier to pay off my debt, but really it was not that simple. I had kids. I had bills outside of my debts. I was an average income earner and was not from a wealthy family at all. And no, I did not inherit any money. So I had no one to depend on except myself and my husband. So like going forward now, 6 months or so, I'm at my last and final payment before I'm officially debt-free. And I honestly am just in shock. I can't believe I made it to that point. I can't believe I'm looking at numbers that I never imagined I would see when it came to my debts. So making the final payment was like a feeling I can't even explain. It was just, I felt like a weight had lifted off my shoulders, and I actually finally felt free, like really actually free. After this, I spent some years saving money, spending money, giving and investing, but still trying to watch how I was spending my money. But at the same time, I was trying to give myself some permission to enjoy it a bit more, having known that I'd spent the last year or previous years budgeting and really watching how I was spending my money. So by the end of 2022, I started reevaluating again how I was using that money and realized that I could be doing a lot better and I could be preparing better for my future. So I thought maybe I need to go back to some sort of budgeting system. So then fast forward to March 2023, I decided I would get back to budgeting and cash stuffing specifically, because there are so many things that I see myself wanting to achieve. I definitely need to make sure that I have the finances to do that. So I thought that this time around, I wanted to document and share my budgeting and saving journey here on YouTube. And this time I want to do it because I'm now living in Dubai and it's a little bit different. So I want to kind of share my journey while I'm living here. Really, my hope is that by sharing my past experience of being in debt and my story of how I paid it all off is encouraging and inspiring to others and allows you to see that debt repayment is actually possible. Because I know many times I felt like it's not possible, no one can do this, there's no hope. But I also hope that on my journey going forward, it helps those that are in the stages that are after debt repayment as well. And they're just trying to figure out what their next steps are. And hopefully watching me allows them to see the next steps that they could be taking. But listen, no matter where you are in your journey, just take it one step at a time. And be patient with yourself, because it requires a lot of patience. But also push yourself through those hard times, because it's not going to be easy. Whether you're on a debt-free journey or you've paid off all your debt, I would love to hear how it's going and where you are. So please head over to the comments and let me know. Thanks for coming along on this journey with me, and I'll see you on the other side.